Imagine this. In the last century alone, we've lost thousands of unique fruit and flower varieties to the relentless march of industrial farming, leaving our gardens starved of the vibrant flavors and scents our ancestors cherished. But what if I told you that replanting just a few of these forgotten gems could spark a revolution in your backyard, restoring tastes that make modern produce seem like pale imitations? Stick around as we count down 15 varieties every gardener should revive right now. Number 15. White apricots. These pale, ghostly fruits once dotted orchards across the American West, prized in the 19th century for their delicate sweetness in jams and fresh eating during California's golden agricultural era. They faded away as Silicon Valley's tech boom swallowed up fertile lands and university research stations shuttered in the 1980s due to funding cuts, favoring hardier, more uniform commercial varieties that shipped better but tasted worse. It's tragic we've traded their creamy, floral juiciness, think honey-kissed silk on your tongue, for bland imports, robbing us of a fruit that could thrive in home gardens with minimal fuss. You'd never guess, but one collector found a surviving tree on a forgotten roadside, proving these beauties aren't gone for good. Number 14. Corpse flower. Towering up to 8 feet in Sumatran rainforests, this monstrous bloom has captivated botanists since its discovery in the 1800s, unfurling only every 7 to 10 years to release a stench that draws pollinators from miles away. Habitat destruction from logging and palm oil plantations, combined with its finicky growth needs, has pushed it to the brink, making wild sightings a rarity outside conservation efforts. We've lost the raw wonder of its decaying flesh aroma, mixed with hints of sweet decay. A sensory punch that reminds us nature's beauty often hides in the grotesque. In a twist, one bloomed unexpectedly in a Chicago greenhouse, drawing crowds who braved the odor just to witness its fleeting majesty. Number 13. Chocolate cosmos. Native to Mexico's meadows in the 19th century, this velvety bloom scented Victorian gardens with its rich cocoa perfume, often dried for potpourri or admired in wildflower bouquets. Deforestation wiped out its natural habitats by the early 20th century, and since it doesn't produce viable seeds, only cloned cultivars survive through meticulous propagation. The irony stings. We've forfeited that deep, chocolatey velvet touch and smell for mass-produced flowers lacking soul, when this one could perfume your plot with edible-like allure. Surprisingly, a single patch was rediscovered in 1902, sparking a revival that's still whisper quiet among gardeners. Number 12. Nickajack apple. Born in the rugged hills of western North Carolina during the Appalachian settlement era, this heirloom apple fueled pioneer families with its tart flesh, perfect for cider and winter storage in root cellars. Industrial agriculture's rise in the mid-20th century, pushing just a handful of supermarket varieties, left it abandoned in overgrown orchards, its name nearly erased as small farms vanished. Tragically, we've sacrificed its crisp, honey-tart bite, a flavor that explodes like autumn sunshine, for uniform reds that lack depth, diminishing our connection to regional heritage. One apple hunter stumbled upon a lone tree in a forgotten cove, grafting it back to life before it blinked out forever. Number 11. Ghost orchid, haunting the humid swamps of Florida and Cuba. Since prehistoric times, this ethereal flower clung to tree bark, blooming sporadically to attract night-flying moths with its spider-like petals. Deforestation and climate shifts have decimated its habitats, while poaching for collectors nearly drove it extinct by the late 20th century. We've lost the misty, lemon-scented whisper of its white tendrils dancing in the breeze, a fragile beauty that underscores nature's quiet magic now overshadowed by hardy hybrids. In an eerie tale, a single plant in a preserve bloomed after decades, as if defying its own disappearance. Number 10. Seek no further apple. Tracing back to colonial New England orchards in the 1700s, this apple earned its name from settlers who declared it the pinnacle of flavor, slicing it for pies or eating it fresh off the tree. The shift to large-scale farming and disease outbreaks like fire blight in the 1900s sidelined it, as growers opted for resistant but flavorless alternatives marketed for global shelves. It's outrageous we've forsaken its juicy, spice-laced sweetness, evoking warm cider on a crisp fall day, for convenience, erasing a taste that could redefine homegrown delight. Legend has it, one bite convinced a farmer to abandon his modern crops entirely. Number 9. Jade vine. Twining through Philippine rainforests for centuries, this claw-shaped bloom dazzled indigenous communities with its turquoise clusters, pollinated by bats under moonlit canopies. Rampant deforestation for agriculture and urban sprawl has shredded its native homes, leaving it critically endangered and hard to cultivate without tropical conditions. The loss of its glossy, jewel-like sheen and faint fruity scent is a quiet tragedy, stripping gardens of a vine that could cascade like living emeralds. You'd be shocked to learn it was once so common that locals wove it into folklore, now barely hanging on in botanic sanctuaries. Number 8. Arkansas Black Apple. Emerging from Arkansas orchards in the 1840s, this dark-skinned fruit starred in southern kitchens, its firm flesh ideal for long-keeping pies and sauces through harsh winters. Commercial preferences for softer, quicker ripening apples in the post-World War II era, driven by supermarket demands, pushed it to obscurity, with many trees felled for monoculture fields. We've tragically abandoned its deep, wine-like tartness with a crunchy snap that lingers like velvet, favoring blandness over this resilient heirloom's depth. In a surprising revival, cider makers are hunting it down, discovering its fermentation magic anew. Number 7. Rothschild's Slipper Orchid. Perched on Borneo's misty slopes since ancient times, this regal bloom enchanted explorers in the 19th century with its striped petals, thriving only at precise altitudes. Illegal logging and black market poaching exploded in the 20th century, nearly erasing it until protected parks intervened, but its 15-year bloom cycle keeps it elusive. The irony burns. We've nearly lost its silky, vanilla-infused elegance, a flower worth thousands that could grace patient gardeners' greenhouses. One smuggler fetched $5,000 for a stem, highlighting the desperate value we've overlooked. Number 6. Ashmead's Kernel Apple. Hailing from 1700s England and crossing to American soils, this russeted apple delighted orchardists with its versatility in ciders and fresh bites amid colonial harvests. Its unappealing bumpy skin doomed it in the aesthetic-driven market of the 1900s, as glossy varieties like Red Delicious dominated shelves through aggressive marketing. Outrage simmers at ditching its crisp, pear-drop sweetness laced with nutty acid, a burst of autumn complexity, for superficial perfection. Curiously, it's one of the easiest to grow organically, thriving where others fail. Number 5. Franklin Tree Flower. Discovered along Georgia's rivers in the 1760s by botanist John Bartram, this camellia-like bloom perfumed southern landscapes, its white cups gathered for teas and decorations in early American homes. Extinct in the wild by 1803 due to overcollection and habitat changes from settlement, it survives only through propagated descendants in gardens. We've forfeited its honeysuckle-sweet fragrance and buttery petals, a nostalgic loss that echoes the erasure of untamed wilderness. In a poignant fact, every living tree traces back to Bartram's seeds, a fragile thread to our botanical past. Number 4. Junaluska Apple. Cultivated by Cherokee people. In 1800s North Carolina, this knobbly fruit bore the name of a revered warrior, traded in southern markets for its hardy storage and pie-making prowess. Forced land displacements and the rise of industrial apples in the early 1900s scattered its trees, deeming it lost until a 2001 rediscovery. The tragedy deepens in losing its tangy, earthy crunch, flavors tied to indigenous resilience, swapped for flavorless uniformity that ignores cultural roots. One hunter searched a decade to find it, unearthing a story of survival against odds. Number 3. Black Bat Flower. Lurking in Southeast Asia's humid jungles for eons, this eerie perennial mimicked bats with its winged bracts, revered in local folklore for warding off spirits. Climate change and habitat loss from development have thinned its populations, making it a challenge to cultivate outside specialized conditions. It's heartbreaking to imagine gardens without its inky, whiskered intrigue and subtle musky scent, a gothic charm replaced by tame blooms. Surprisingly, it thrives indoors for bold gardeners, whispering ancient mysteries. Number 2. Taliaferro Apple. Thomas Jefferson's prized cider apple at Monticello in the late 1700s. This small fruit fermented into exquisite drinks, symbolizing early American ingenuity in orchards. The 20th century push for bigger, shinier apples buried it, thought extinct until potential matches surfaced in Virginia hills. We've outrageously overlooked its crisp, cider-perfect zest with citrus notes, a presidential favorite now eclipsed by mediocrity. You'd never guess Jefferson paid extra for a tree during land deals, valuing it above gold. Number 1. Fire Lily. Rising from South Africa's wildfire-scorched Cape Mountains for millennia, this flame-like bloom signaled renewal to indigenous tribes, its tubers used in traditional medicines. Overharvesting and habitat disruption from invasive species and climate shifts have endangered it, with pollination tied solely to a rare butterfly. The profound loss of its fiery, peppery aroma and velvety red petals, like phoenix feathers reborn, strips us of nature's resilient poetry. In a fiery anecdote, it erupts 2 weeks post-blaze, a defiant burst of life amid ashes. These 15 varieties aren't just plants, they're casualties of a broader monoculture madness, where corporate efficiency has homogenized our food and flowers, eroding biodiversity and severing ties to our flavorful, fragrant heritage in pursuit of profit over passion. It's a cultural theft, really, fueled by industrial shifts that prioritize shelf life over soul, leaving future generations with gardens as bland as factory lines. But we can fight back. Start by sourcing seeds or grafts for one of these in your own yard, and watch the magic unfold. If this sparked your gardening fire, smash that subscribe button for more hidden horticultural treasures, and stay tuned for our next video. 10 vanished vegetables that could revolutionize your plate. Let's replant the past together.